Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So this week is pre-release for BT13. This is a meta warping set, so of course we are going to talk about one of two of the first most meta warping decks in the entire format. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and cover ShineGreymon Burst Mode so everyone gets an idea of what is in this deck and what makes it such an absolute menace and why people are already terrified of what this deck is going to do to our format. Also, check the Patreon link in the description below, as well as our Etsy store if you want to get some great swag from the channel, some of the most awesome memory markers that we have out there. They're all handmade out of clay by my wife, hand-painted faces as well. Super, super cute, all of them. A major, vast selection of them, so definitely go check that out. Also, if you guys are a fan of buying cards and singles online like I am, I recommend checking out cardtrader.com. I'll have a link in the description below that you can go and use to sign up. You'll instantly get a free $2 to use on cardtrader.com. It's a great website because if you use their Card Trader Zero program, what they do is they gather all the cards that you're buying at their warehouse and then they ship them to you for a single shipping cost. It sucks when you have to pay more for the shipping than you do the cards themselves. That's when cardtrader.com comes in clutch. So just use my link, go sign up, and get yourself free $2 and go start buying some singles. All right, so as always, I have the whole deck pulled up for you guys so we can you can follow along as we talk about things. You'll notice some things there at the end or just kind of extras. There's going to be talking points throughout the video, just some things like that. Some of my ratios might be a little bit off from what you're used to, and we'll explain it all as we go through. There are some areas that can be flexed and changed just kind of depending on what you're in the mood for. All right, so let's go ahead and do this card by card review. All right, if you're not familiar with how the deck operates, it's mainly go into Marcus. Marcus turns himself into a Digimon that can attack. Kind of think of it like a hybrid without actually having to Digivolve, and then he just attacks by himself. And then a lot of the rest of the Greymon line just boosts him up in numerous different ways that just make him super effective and doing tons of damage. So that's kind of the premise of the deck. Get a Marcus out, get him turned into a Digimon, and get him punching people in the face because that's what he does. All right, so first up, we've got the Draw Koromon. This is the when attacking. If it has Greymon in the name, you can draw one. So pretty simple stuff. This deck is mainly about you just kind of need to see your pieces. As soon as you see just a couple pieces in the deck, like one solid Evo line, it doesn't even matter what the Evo line consists of, as long as you have it all the way up and can go into a burst mode, and you have a Marcus on the field, you pretty much just win. So we really want to see those consistency pieces as fast as possible. There's not really a better option to go with for this, unfortunately for this, because mainly by the time you start swinging with the Greymon, that it's kind of the idea is to swing for game. So just that Koromon is just there for that draw power mainly. Next, we've got the BT12 Agumon. This is going to be the main searcher of all your Agumons. This is going to be your big searcher. Reveal the top 4, add a Greymon and a Marcus in name to hand in any order. And then your inheritable is when one of your yellow or red tamers becomes suspended, one of your opponents gets minus 2k for the turn. And so we've got numerous ways to like stack that to get that DP minus pretty high. Next, we've got the EX4 one, which is probably my favorite of the Agumons. At the start of your main phase, if you have a red or yellow tamer in play, you get a gain 1 memory. So this is start of your main phase. So it's after you promote it at a raising area. Now, typically, you probably do want to Evo on top of this guy, but still, just in some situations, you might not, and just promote him up. He's pretty great. There's also one of the Greymons, Geo Greys, that does the same thing. Really, really strong effect there. Again, it's at the start of your main phase, so it's after your raising phase. That's just really, really strong. And then inheritable of your turn, once per turn, when one of your red or yellow tamers becomes suspended, draw one. So another consistency, powerful piece there. Help you get into like your burst modes and things like that, because you really need to see your burst modes ASAP, as well as you need to see your shines as soon as possible. So that's a really powerful Agumon, extremely powerful. Next, we got the new BT13 one here, which is also pretty great. So main, once per turn, one of your Marcus is also treated as a 3000 DP Digimon for the turn that can't Digivolve. This is basically what the markets we have now already does, but this just lets you do it for free. You don't have to spend that one memory, or with the new markets that doesn't innately have the ability to turn himself into a Digimon, this is just going to allow you to do it for free. Not too bad, but again, often you're going to already be like Digivolved on top of this Agumon, especially if you're promoting at a raising area. You might already have a level 4 or even a level 5, and so you might not get this effect, but still extremely powerful. Your turn, once per turn, when your red or yellow Digimon becomes suspended, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. Again, this combo is great with a lot of the DP minusing. Sometimes you might not get enough DP minus to completely kill something, but you might lower it into the threshold of deleting it because it's at 3k or less. So nice little, very synergistic piece there. Now that's 12 rookies. You could possibly get away with that if you want to go a little bit leaner on the Evo stack. You could drop there, and then the Agumon X could be a flex spot for you if you so choose. But he does fit in the deck. He's an Agumon in name and dinosaur typing, so that's why we do like to run him. He could be just a 0 Evo draw card, in raising area, not bad. Or you can just Evo him on field. Let's say you played the Searcher Agumon, then Evo this guy on top of it. It's another search for another Greymon. Reveal 3, add a Greymon to hand. The only thing is you're going to miss the Marcus search, right? But if you already have a Marcus, absolutely go into this guy. Go ahead and Evo him for 0 and get that search for another Greymon, because that's consistency is extremely powerful. But yeah, so just a 0 Evo, not bad way to round out. If you like me, I'm a big fan of 14 rookies, so that's what I went with for my 2 of there. Next, going up into the Geo Greys here, they all have the same black box effect here of 2 Evo on top of an Agumon with Dinosaur in the traits, which all of these are, so that's great. So all of these will be a 2 Evo cost on top of all your Agumons. Start of your main phase, if you have a red or yellow tamer in play, gain 1. This is the best thing that you could probably promote up out of raising area. Promote this up, gain that extra 1. That is going to allow you to have that 1 extra memory to get that 1 Marcus, 1 cost to turn into a Digimon. You're at 3. You can still Evo into a Rise Greymon and still be able to completely pop off just from that effect, from this effect alone. So really, really solid card here in this Geo Greymon. And then inheritable, when one of your tamers becomes suspended, draw 1. So yeah, he's my favorite of all the Geo Greymons that we have here. Also, I should point out the black box text here on these guys. All of our Agumons Digivolve for 0 on top of Koromon. So if you're looking at babies, if you don't really want this Koromon because you're just like, well, I'm not going to be attacking until I've already got my pieces, you still need to be looking at different Koromons to go with. So just kind of keep that in mind. The draw 1 has just been really, really powerful for me for a long time. Next up, next Geo Grey. When Digivolving, if you don't have a Marcus in play, you can play 1 from your hand without paying the cost. Pretty good stuff. Well, we saw this a lot in BT12 and EX3, things like that. Being able to play tamers for free. This game has gotten really fast, and any deck based on tamers needs ways to play out tamers for free, and this is kind of where they went with on this one. Rise Greymon, also notorious for playing out tamers, so this is just like, oh, we're also going to just throw it on the Geo Grey as well. Also, because your Marcus tend to get themselves killed, so you unlike in other decks, once you have that tamer out, you're just set for the rest of the game. In this one, your Marcus can come out and he can disappear as well, because he's going to punch something in security that's bigger than he is, and he's going to get deleted. So being able to play another, a Geo Grey to play another Marcus out over and over, it makes sense. And then inheritable, when one of your yellow or red tamers becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2k. So again, combo is really great with that minus or that delete of 3k. DP or less, so good synergy there. And then rounding it out, I think this is the weakest out of all of them. He's still solid though. He's the one from BT13. When Digivolving, search your security stack and reveal 1 red or yellow tamer card. Just any. I think he's gonna be a great staple in a lot of decks. But any red or yellow tamer card, and play it without paying its memory cost. If you played a card, recovery 1, then shuffle your security. That's really solid. In like a tamer heavy deck, he is a fantastic piece. I think we'll definitely see some synergy with him later in the future for some other decks. But yeah, it's not just a Marcus, it's any tamer. So that's really strong effect. Again, just a 2 Evo cost. And then inheritable, when your red or yellow tamer becomes suspended, you may delete one of your opponent's 3k or less DP. So same as like the new Agumon there. So again, I think he's really strong, but I think he really shines after your Marcus has already been deleted, and like your Rise inheritables that put him in security. That's when this GeoGreymon's going to really pop off. So I'd rather see the other 2 early game, and then him I'd rather see late game. So that's why we put him at the 3 of for the deck, and the other 2 at the 4 ofs for the deck. And that's the pretty standard ratios there. 11 level 4s is pretty common. You might, again, depending on the build you want to go with, you could go with a really lean build that's only the 4 ShineGreymons, and then you could cut down to, you know, maybe 6 or 7 Rise Greymons, and then you could cut down to, you know, 8, 9 level 4s, and so on. You could make this deck really lean if you want to, you know, flex out the ending a little bit more with some alternative choices. It just depends on the build choice. I went with something a little more normal ratios, nothing too crazy, just for consistency purposes. Next up, we got our BT12 Rise Greymon, which is really good. 3 Evo on top of all of our GeoGreymons. And in addition to that, when Digivolving, if we have a red or yellow tamer in play, gain 1 memory. So this is now a 2 Evo cost level 5. That's fantastic because you're going to use the old Marcus or the middle Marcus, whatever you want to call it, to Evo for free with your Mega. So yeah, getting this guy on board for 2 memory, just that alone is fantastic. But then he just synergizes extremely well with the deck. All turns, once per turn, when one of your tamers is deleted, you place 1 Marcus from your trash on top of your security stack face down. And then the same for the inheritable. So even if you Evo on top of this, you keep that ability, which is super strong. Marcus dies, but the fact that you could just essentially free recover, just recover. I mean, that's basically what you're doing. You're recovering, and you're guaranteeing that it's a tamer that as soon as it gets checked, it gets to play itself out for free again. That's super, super strong. And then going right into the new BT13 one has the same exact inheritable here, as well as same main effect. So like almost identical Rise Greymons, just the difference is this one is when Digivolving, you may play 1 Marcus from your hand without paying its cost. And that's the only difference. The other one's a little bit cheaper to Evo. This one, you play out a Marcus if you didn't already have one. But both basically are just cycling your Marcuses over and over. So if you want a good reason that you can't wrap your head around them wanting to hit Marcus, both of these Rise Greymons are really strong reasons why a lot of people are considering the old Marcus to possibly being hit, because we can cycle it so many different ways. The Rise Greymon's putting it in security, the new GeoGreymon playing him for free out of security, playing him from hand for free. Like we can cycle into Marcus over and over and over really easily. So as soon as you just get 1, you're off to the races. Now that's also an issue, is like you need to see that 1 or basically you kind of can't do much of anything. So but yeah, once you see that 1, you're in a really good position after that. Next, we do have the BT12 ShineGreymon, which is, in my opinion, the much better of the 2. When Digivolving, for each yellow and or red tamer you have in play, one of your opponents and all of your opponent's security Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP for the turn. So this is a real easy, like, minus 6k onto a target, as well as the security Digimon. That's really solid. So I'm a big fan of this one. And then your turn, all of your Marcus in play get plus 3,000 DP and security attack plus 1. The security attack plus 1 is basically what kind of helps you just get game super easily. Especially because so normally he is a 3 Evo on top of your rises. But remember, with the old Marcus, we'll get to it, but he lets you Digivolve into the Shine for free, and that's super, super strong. Next, I do have one of the new ones. I did have the room for it. I debated as well as one of the old ones for a little bit of board control, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But again, 3 Evo on top of all your Rise Greymons. start of your main phase and when digivolving, not once per turn, one of your Marcus, or I guess you can't really trigger them both in one turn, but one of your Marcus Daemons is also treated as a 3000 Digimon that can't digivolve and gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. So kind of like that Agumon that we saw earlier, you just get to, for free, turn one of your Marcuses into a Digimon instead of having to pay the one memory. This kind of circumvents that a little bit and just does it automatically. Which is, not bad. And also blocker gives your deck a little bit of defensive capabilities, because besides when the Marcus gets deleted and gets thrown into security, you really don't have much defensive power in this deck. You don't really have any recovery, even though it's a yellow deck or half yellow deck. You don't really get much else recovery, so that's, your defensive options are really, really limited. So you gotta basically you pop off before your opponent is your main strategy. All turns, once per turn, when your red or yellow tamer becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6,000 DP for the turn. So similar to the other ShineGreymon there, most of the time is only ever going to be 6. You're only realistically going to have maybe at most 2 tamers on field at one time. So it's about the same on that in that regard. But yeah, not bad. I like him in here just for that extra little bit of security. If this is the only Marcus I have is the new one that can't just turn himself into a Digimon automatically, I like to have that little bit of extra security just to help get us there. As well as, again, I had the room. You could argue dropping this completely. You could drop one of the Rises down. You could drop, the 2 of the ShineGreymons. You can drop 2 of the Agumons. Make the deck more lean if you wanted to. You can even drop the burst mode down to 2. That's going to give you, a lot more cards to work with here on the back end. Now, some alternatives. I did kind of mention a little bit here. We do have the old Shine, which when digivolving, you can suspend all of your yellow tamers. For each tamer suspended this way, activate the following effect, minus 4k. So you can apply that multiple times, so the more tamers you have, the more times you can activate that minus 4k. But again, the thing is, you're realistically only ever going to have about 2 tamers on field at one time, just because they're going to be turning themselves into Digimon and then punching, turning themselves into Digimon and punching. And then usually dying. I mean, they're only going to be like 6k DP. Not amazing. But yeah, so you're not going to have a huge board state to really like capitalize on him too much. And then for the other Rises, I do like this one with the Digiburst, because I can Evo this in raising area and just sit on it until I'm ready to get that effect off. The Digiburst 2, get a play a tamer for free. My only issue with that is I can't attack with it that turn. It's the tamer essentially has summoning sickness, and I can't attack with it. Even if I use the Shine here to turn it into a Digimon that can attack, it still has summoning sickness if I use this. So it's not as great. I do like the fact that I can just sit on it and wait with it in raising area till I'm ready. But you know what? I can do that with the other guys as well. And then I just need a hard play a tamer, which isn't the worst. And then the inheritable is also kind of neat. If you have a tamer in play, one of your opponents, when attacking, one of your opponents Digimon gets minus 2k for the turn. So it's got that synergy with that DP minus thing again. But again, not super needed. I think the other 2 are going to be better, especially the cycling ability, getting them back out of trash and like essentially recovering them. I think is super strong. And there's also the ShineGreymon X, 1 Evo on top of a ShineGreymon. We've got plenty of ShineGreymons in the deck. We could slot this in, but again, same issue. I can play out a tamer with this, but it's going to have summoning sickness. This is very much an aggressive deck that I need the tamer already out. Even if I have to Evo into a ShineGreymon, I don't need necessarily to play a tamer out for free. In the strategy of the deck, you've already wanted that to happen, because you go into a Rise and then you have your tamer ready to attack. The tamer attacks, you Evo for free into the Shine, and that's how you combo off with the deck. So I don't really need these specific strategies of playing out tamers for free. I do like the board control of the minus 2 for each tamer I have, but again, I'm not going to have that many tamers in play, so I'm going to have to get really capitalize on a ton of these DP minus effects to really get great value out of them. It's just going to take a whole lot. So that's why I ended up cutting the ShineGreymon X. I just don't think it's as needed anymore. All right, now the big boss himself is ShineGreymon Burst Mode. This is what breaks the deck. This card right here is really what makes this deck so agonizing. Like, if you want to talk about a card to limit, like, it might be this. But again, the deck pretty much only really needs to run 2 just for the consistency to see it. But it could still operate just fine on 1, and it just waits until it sees the 1 to pop off. Digivolve for 0. So the burst Digivolve, if you're not effect, all burst Digivolving is the same. You're going to Digivolve for 0 on top of whatever it is, the ShineGreymon, you know, or whatever the other burst is, by returning specified tamer, in this case Marcus, in play to its owner's hands. At the end of the turn, trash the top card of this Digimon. Essentially, it's going to be like de-Digivolve this. You're going to just pop the level 7 off, and you're just going to go back down to your level 6. So 0 Evo cost. You're going to return a Marcus to hand to go 0 Evo cost in this. When Digivolving, you may play one Marcus from your hand without paying its memory cost. So you literally just bounce a tamer and get to play it right back out for free again. So there's like no loss there. And the tamer played by this effect is also treated as a 12,000 DP Digimon and can't Digivolve and gains a rush. What? How is that even fair? That's so, like, it's not even a burst mode. You're giving your Marcus a second attack. That's what you're doing. You could just as easily unsuspend that Marcus and then swing again. But whatever. Okay, so super strong effect. And then in addition to that, your turn, once per turn, when one of your tamers becomes suspended, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Wow. All right. That's nuts. All right, so let's go ahead and cover this, and then we'll talk about combos. So start of your main phase, if you have a Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name in play by paying 1 memory for the turn, this tamer is also treated as a 3,000 DP Digimon that can't Digivolve. So he's 3,000, rookie, essentially, that can attack. When this tamer becomes suspended, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a yellow card with Greymon in its name from your hand without paying memory cost. So, the combos are GeoGreymon or Rise Greymon. You've got it on the field. You pay the 1 to turn Marcus into a Digimon. Marcus, if you have a GeoGreymon, go into a Rise, okay? If you have a memory fixer, you'll be fine. If you have the GeoGreymon that gives you 1 memory, you know, that also helps as well. So now you've got your Rise on field. Marcus swings. Evo for free into ShineGreymon here. ShineGreymon, when Digivolving effect will immediately trigger, you can possibly kill a blocker that's in your way, but also you're making your opponent's security Digimon weaker, increasing the likelihood that Marcus survives the check because he's got security attack +1 as well, and 3,000 DP. So he's 6,000 DP, security attack +1. Your opponent's security Digimon has -3, maybe -6, equaling out to essentially a 12k security attack +1 Digimon. If he survives those 2 checks, you now go into burst mode, bounce him back to hand, play him out for free again, and then he has rush. You swing with him, you activate the second part of this, which trashes the security, and then that second check, and then that check goes through. That's 4 security gone. Then you can go swing with the burst mode here, and then numerous ways to go for game after that. Now this is a level 7, so that means no Blitz Omnimon, so just kind of keep that in mind. But super easy just to like defeat your opponent. It's absolutely insane. There is also this Marcus as well. He's your memory fixer. 5 play costs might sound steep. However, on play, you may suspend this tamer. All turns when this tamer becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -3k DP for turn. Then, if you have a Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name in play, gain 1 memory. So the idea is that you play this guy for 5. He immediately suspends himself and gives you 4 memory. If you play him out for free, that's great. You just instantly +1 memory if you play him for free, which is super strong. So many things. If you play him off the burst mode for free, he then has, then he has rush and can attack. You gain 1 memory then, and the -3k. Such a crazy strong card here. Yeah, if you can get both of them in play, you're going to be in a really good position. I've seen some people running 4 and 4 of it. Absolutely, totally understand. They're both very powerful cards. If you're going to be running 4 of this, you might want to bump up this Shine here to 2 of. Yes, you still have the Agumon here that will turn him into a Digimon for you as well. And he's a memory fixer, which is always great. I definitely could see him as a 3 of. 4 seems a little extreme for me, but he seems like a solid 2 of, absolutely no less, but could very easily be a 3 of as well. And that's the main part of the deck. That is your general idea, is to just do that combo and just clear your opponent down to nothing, and then numerous ways to go for game from there. Whatever fancy, whatever meets your taste. If you dropped an extra rookie on the previous turn, or you had 2 of the Marcuses, and we have 4 of them here. If you have 2 of them in play, you could have gone into double Marcus there. It's just, ugh, that's nasty in itself there. Moving on, though, we have 3 slots left in the deck, and there's always Sunrise Buster, 5 play cost. You can play a tamer for free, and then minus 3k to your opponent's Digimon for each tamer you have. Again, though, we don't have a lot of tamers in play. It's a one-of, so I don't feel too bad there. There's also the Shining Blast, which is similar. We only play Marcus, so that's fine. You play a Marcus, and then 3 of your opponent's Digimon get minus 2k for each tamer you have. So this is a nice little bit of a wide board removal for the deck instead of just a 0 target, which isn't bad. But I'm kind of liking the new BT13 Final Shining Burst. It's an 8 play cost, but it's minus 12, so that's pretty strong in itself. And you play a Marcus after the fact. This is just great prep. If you're setting up, you're going into play. I've got my Rise in raising area. I've got my Shine in hand. I've got a Marcus in hand. I can either play the Marcus to pass turn, or I can play this Final Shining Burst and deal with a massive threat that's on my opponent's side of the field. Especially something like an example would be like Black War Greymon X, right? That might just be a nuisance because he's got that redirect as well as blocker from a tie, or it could be the War Greymon that's a double blocker. Numerous different things that can affect the game state. So you can play this minus 12 on it, and if it's still too big and you play out this Marcus, immediately when he hits the field, he suspends himself to minus another 3k. So at that point, this is the same as a Wyvern's Breath, and you get a Marcus on field. A 5 play cost Marcus, I might add, that you actually gain 1 back. So it essentially makes this a Wyvern's Breath at 7, and you get a tamer in play. I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. It handles big threats, so I'm a big fan of it. Security, just activate the main effect. Super solid card. I was actually debating just running this at 2 and then cutting out, one of the others here. It's just a matter of personal preference. Like Shining Blast is nice just to handle a wider board of like minions. So if you go against like D Brigade or something like that, a Shining Blast can be pretty solid. So I definitely don't mind that there. Especially because 5 play cost with this Marcus, that's 10 memory worth of stuff, and then you gain 1 back, so it's even better, making this basically a 4 play cost with this Marcus. Yeah, that's pretty great. And then that's the main card of the deck, and then if you want to make it lean, you can make it lean, and then you can play with some red memory boost. I went with red because we have like the Agumon X, and that's really it. So it'll hit all this. Like, why would you play a yellow? I don't see the reason for needing to play a yellow, especially if all you have is a Koromon in play, then you can't even play it. Like, absolutely, you would run the red over the yellow every day. There's no reason you would want to run the yellow instead. But yeah, so you could cut down, make the deck a little bit more lean. If you just want to see that one combo, you don't need this ShineGreymon or anything like that. You could definitely cut down on some cards and then bump this into the deck a little bit. 2, 3, however many copies you want to run. So that would be like another thing that you could run, as well as you could run Crimson Blaze. I didn't put it in here, but that's another great red card that really handles threats. Honestly, instead of the Shining Blast, Crimson Blaze might be the better way to go. Especially because playing Digimon by effects. Actually, let's go ahead and just add that for anyone skipping to the end here to look at the deck. Oops. Is a great counter card to the Royal Knights deck. You can play this, you turn Royal Knights off for a turn. You clear a board of a super wide board with this. You can hit Jesmon really hard with this, because not only do you clear their board, but you also prevent them from playing out their sister ones. We definitely expect to see Jesmon coming back again. So, I mean, honestly, yeah, I think like this at a 2 of might be the better choice over a Shining Blast here. So something like that instead. Even taking that out, 2 of this, 1 of this, 2 and 2, whatever fits your taste. And that is the core of the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully it wasn't too long for you. Trying to keep these videos under 30 minutes can be a bit of a struggle. If you made it all the way to this, please like the video if you haven't already. And if you're not a subscriber, please become a subscriber. We're getting close to that 5K. I'm ready to do some big giveaways as soon as we get there. I've got some neat stuff in the works. I definitely want to make 5K a big, awesome giveaway for you guys. I'm really excited for it. It's a huge milestone for the channel. Really